This is a time for memories, renewing commitments, and new beginnings. It's a time in this spirit that we welcome you to Dixon Center for Military and Veterans Services 2020 holiday reception. I'm Colonel Dave Sutherland, United States Army retired and chairman of Dixon Center. I'd like to welcome you all and a special recognition to our Command Council members who are joining us from across the country to be here. Latrice Dixon, our Blue and Gold Star family partner, John Anderson, Rick Friedman, Danny Gardner, Tommy Hare, Brian Hull, Christine McMahon, Ed Wenzel, and Jim Williams. I'd also like to welcome our host committee members, John Coonrat, Holly Metzger, and Jerry Pascucci. You know, Dixon Center for Military and Veterans Services will be the point of choice for organizations seeking to develop and operate direct service programs for veterans and their families. We will be the bridge to bring new ideas and solutions to the mission of addressing the ever-evolving needs of veterans and their families. It's our leadership within the organization, Colonel Duncan Milne, Colonel Sam Whitehurst, Vanessa Sturgis, Liz Belcaster, and of course, Sarah Heidenheimer that make this possible. I'd also like to send a special welcome to my father and Canadian Army veteran who is listening in Toledo, Ohio, with my mother and my sister. Dad, thanks for being on. Before I start the awards presentation, I'd like to recognize the sculpture of these awards, Scott Stearman. Over the years, Scott has cultivated a relationship with us, and we value his ability to tell stories through sculptures. As you can tell, he approaches each piece with a sensitive heart and the eyes of an artist, always looking for the truth in stories that lay beneath the surface. It was in 2001, I saw my first sculpture by Scott. I was reminded and reconnected to a sacred part of my soul and service to my nation that were brought out. These emotions were Scott's sculptures. It is for this reason Scott is the sculptor of the Friedman Leadership Award, the Metzger Service Award, and the Jaeger Point Man Award. It's my humble honor to present the 2020 Eugene and Ruth Friedman Leadership Award recipient. The award is presented annually by Dixon Center for Military and Veterans Services as an honor recognizing outstanding organizations committed to addressing the well-being of veterans and military families. Before we present the Eugene and Ruth Friedman Leadership Award, I'd like to recognize our previous recipients, the 2017 Friedman Award recipient, PwC Charitable Foundation, represented tonight by Frank Gaudio and Charlotte Coker Gibson. The 2018 Friedman Award recipient, Prudential, represented by Jim Beamersdorfer. The 2019 Friedman Award recipient, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Let me tell you why this award is named after Eugene and Ruth Friedman. Gene Friedman was a Navy veteran who served in World War II. In fact, at the time he joined the Navy, he was the youngest officer serving in the United States Navy during World War II. After service, like so many others of his generation, he came home and gave back to our country. Gene not only served, but he provided happiness. Founding chairman and former president and CEO of Enesco Group, a global leader in branded gifts and collectibles. He was notably the creator of the Precious Moments figurine collection. He received a multitude of leadership and achievement awards, including the Ellis Island Medal of Honor, the first Fraternal Order of Police and Easter Seals Humanitarian Awards, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America's highest honor, the Herbert Hoover Humanitarian Award. He did all this with Ruth, the first lady of Enesco Group, by his side. Gene and Ruth were generous with their time, talent, and treasure, as you can see by the many awards and laudatory recognitions they received. Together, they raised three wonderful children and friends of mine, their eldest daughter, Penny, Nancy Remack, and my brother, Rick Friedman. I'm honored to welcome our first recipient of the Herb Metzger Service Award, Rick Friedman, to the microphone for a few comments.
Thanks, Dave. On behalf of my sisters, Penny Friedman and Nancy Remack, I'd like to share a few reasons why we are especially excited that this year's recipient of the Eugene and Ruth Friedman Leadership Award is the Utility Workers Union of America for its Military Assistance Program. First, I had the privilege to visit the UMAP program in Chicago. I met some of the program participants as well as the utility union trainers. Directly observing and listening to the veteran participants describe how much the training opportunity means to them reinforces our family's commitment to the Dixon Center and its collaborative model. You know, our family foundation has in its mission statement and investment priorities organizations that focus on collaboration. And the Dixon Center walks the talk when it comes to collaborating. Instead of adding another silo that's serving veterans, they identify and support with their expertise with veterans issues and their expertise in organizational effectiveness to make those organizations effectively serving veterans even more effective. And it's a privilege for us to be associated with them. Second, the UMAP program directly addresses the significant issue of underemployment of veterans, which to me is an even bigger challenge than unemployment. By providing meaningful training, UMAP graduates enjoy higher wage opportunities and a promising career path. There's also synergy and opportunity with the UMAP program for the Dixon Center's female veterans assistance stipends. I met some of those stipend recipients who were so grateful that they were able to stay in the UMAP program to complete their training because of the Dixon Center. I also sincerely believe that some of the camaraderie associated with union membership may help veterans develop and enjoy the types of meaningful bonds they enjoyed with other service people while they were serving. It just seems like such a natural and wonderful bridge for our veterans. Finally, our father, Gene Friedman, as longtime CEO of Enesco Corporation, particularly valued his relationship with the warehouse employees who were all union members. He regularly walked the warehouse floor just to check in on how the warehouse team was doing. He interacted personally with different individuals each time. While his expertise was in sales and marketing, our dad often commented how the warehouse operation had a tremendous impact on the company's success. As a result, he genuinely believed and insisted over the occasional objections of other executives the warehouse employees should share equally in the company's success. Consequently, negotiations with the union were always conducted in good faith, without acrimony, and resulted in contracts both sides felt were fair, beneficial, and a pathway to continued growth and success for all. As a World War II veteran, our dad would especially appreciate the collaboration between the Utility Workers Union of America and the Dixon Center. He would be the first to exclaim his signature phrase that the best is yet to come for those veterans who participate in the UMAP training. Thank you and God bless. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks, Rick. This year's recipient of the Eugene and Ruth Friedman Leadership Award is the Utility Workers Union of America for their leadership and commitment, enabling thousands of veterans and their spouses into meaningful careers in the gas and electric industry. Founded in 1940, since World War II, the Utility Workers Union members have been involved in all of our nation's wars. The utility workers have also been active in assisting and training military members and their families to work in the electric, gas, steam, water, and nuclear industries across America. The Utility Workers Union of America, AFL-CIO, is one of the most successful and progressive unions in all of the labor movements, with over 50,000 members working across the United States. Of note, the Utility Workers Union of America established the Utility Workers Military Assistance Program in Chicago with UWUA Local 18007 and People's Gas after identifying a critical need to put veterans who had honorably served their country into skilled careers. To date, the company has hired 700 veterans from the program. The program is a public-private partnership and includes support from multiple members, but it's the leadership provided by the UWUA that makes this training happen. On behalf of the Friedman family, Dixon Center, and our veterans across the country, it is my honor to present the 2020 Eugene and Ruth Friedman Leadership Award to UWUA President James Slevin.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you, Colonel Sutherland, and everyone at the Dixon Center for the Military and Veteran Services with this prestige award. On behalf of the Utility Workers Union of America members, including thousands of veterans and former service members, we are honored and humbled in accepting the Eugene Ruth Friedman Leadership Award tonight. I also want to extend a thank you to the Friedman family for this award. We're honored to be part of Eugene and Ruth Friedman legacy of giving back to military and veteran families. Together with the Dixon Center and our Power for America Training Trust Fund, the Utility Workers Military Assistance Program, or UMAP, has helped over 700 veterans find great family-sustaining careers in the utility sector since 2012. The UWA is proud of what we've accomplished over the past 8 years for veterans and their families. We focused on a program that is a hand up, not a handout. As soon as the veteran entered the UMAP 6-month program, they became a student who received basic classroom instructions in math, conflict resolution, blueprint reading, computer skills, and more. The next phase of the program exposed students to gas sector specific work, including distribution and service work. After completing these 2 phases and a 1-month mentor program time, students earned a 30-hour accreditation, and they were set up for a career in the utility sector. UMAP's nearly 100% job placement provided troops with the option to receive training in the utility industry in demand renewable energy sector and the gas industry jobs. This program has been tremendously successful, benefiting our brothers and sisters who are proud to work along our veterans, partner with companies that are People's Gas and Consumers Energy, and of course, our veterans and their family. This program is hoping to work in the near future with companies like American Water, Southern Cal Gas, First Energy, and the New York Power Authority as UMAP partners, so that we can make a greater impact to even more veterans and their families. We recently expanded our ability to serve the veterans this summer with the Department of Veterans Affairs certifying UMAP as a skilled bridge provider. That means that our service members will have the opportunity to receive on-the-job training before they are fully separated from the military. It's a model that helps transition from military to civilian life goes a lot smoother with this possibility. This arrangement also allows our veterans to become familiar with everything the utility industry can offer them, including a family supporting salary, benefits, vacation times, and the opportunity to remain in a hands-on career where they are surrounded and supported by other veterans. For a population impacted by economic and health impacts of COVID, these kind of programs are even more important than ever before. Now, this program is not done by one individual alone. Behind the scenes at UMAP, there's a big team of dedicated people who are deeply committed to supporting the veterans, and I'd like to thank a few of them. First, the instructors and faculty members of the Power for America Training Trust, who ensure that each student is ready to enter the utility sector safely and prepared for success. UMAP wouldn't be there today without the support from Colonel Sutherland and the Dixon Center, who have partnered with us from the beginning. And finally, Rick Passarelli, our Director of Veterans Affairs and Workforce Development. Now, this program would not be what it is today without him. When COVID shut down UMAP and everything across this country in the beginning of this year, our 24th cohort students just started class. These students faced the possibility of dropping out of the program, and many of them weren't too sure how they'd be able to pay for their bills. But Rick got to work right away, pushing to allow the students to resume training. This summer, UMAP was the first education program to safely reopen across all of Chicago. Despite the roadblocks COVID-19 threw at us, this group, all 10 graduates this summer, now are currently working for People's Gas. And thank you, Rick, for that. The Dixon Center provides support services to our veterans in UMAP. They provided food vouchers, housing, mental health support, and other financial assistance that benefited around 70% of each of our UMAP classes. This support makes it possible for more of our veterans to focus on their full-time training. As you've seen, we got a community of companies, individuals, and community leaders who come together to make this program a huge success. And we are making sure that we're working together to make sure our veterans are learning new skills who are on the path for new careers. This evening, we're lucky to have a few of our UMAP graduates with us who want to share more on what this program means to them. First, we're going to hear from Lahisha Harrington, an Army veteran, a 2020 UMAP graduate, and her class leader. Then we're going to hear from Joe Cicchina, a Marine Corps veteran, a 2013 UMAP graduate, a UWA business agent for Local 18007, and a mentor for all of our incoming classes. Please join me in welcome Letitia and Joe, as I'm going to pass it over to Letitia for her thoughts. Thank you again for this award. It means a ton to us. Letitia.
Thank you, President Slavin. Hello, my name is Letitia Harrington. I served 8 years in the U.S. Army Reserves, including tours in Iraq and Kuwait, where I handled transportation management and logistics. I originally planned to become a teacher after leaving the military, but ultimately decided I wanted to do something different. I heard about the UMAP program through a friend. During that conversation with my friend, working with houses of gas became appealing to me. After the military, I was searching mission-driven work and the camaraderie of working on a team. Everything is better when you have people around you who have your back. And I was able to have that again in the UMAP program and now in my career as a utility worker at People's Gas. I was the only female in my class, but I am very excited to know that Cohort 25 now has 5 female veterans. I am proud to say that I was the class leader of Cohort 24. Within the program, I was my class's go-to person for help with coursework and other administrative questions. This program is the best thing that has happened to me and my family. I now have a lot of friends and other veterans asking me how to join the program. It's a great opportunity, and I am very grateful to be a part. Thanks. Now I will pass it over to Joe.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I want to thank Rick Passarelli, UMAP, Colonel Sutherland, the Dixon Center, and my local 18007 Gas Workers Union for having me here today. I was in Cohort 1 orientation for the Gas Worker UMAP program. Foolish me, I wasn't a believer. To go 6 months no pay with a month internship, and at the end, just to have a chance at a position with People's Gas, I just couldn't do it. Upon getting out of the service, there was a TAPS program which warned us of the return home and how to be prepared. There were so many programs out there saying that they're there to help veterans and hire veterans first, job fair after job fair. None of them seemed to work or to give what they were promising. See, before Dawson, I was working multiple jobs just to survive on minimum wage, living check to check. It was torture knowing I was one mistake away from being homeless. I was in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years, from 2007 to 2011. My entire enlistment was spent in Okinawa, Japan with 12th Marines. I was a corporal chief cook who was in charge of 65 Japanese nationals and 25 Marines. After living through the struggle of living off my post 9/11 GI Bill and minimum wage wasn't working, I received a call from Rick Passarelli telling me to get my butt into Dawson. At this point, it was cohort 5, and they were not sure for how long the funding would last for the program. After a year of waiting for funding to be secured, cohort 6 kicked off. By this time, I became a believer. UMAP and veterans were making it and succeeding into the company. It wasn't just another empty promising program. After that, how could I not give everything I had to make this work? I ended up graduating class leader of cohort 6. I am now a utility worker journeyman who will top out in 4 years. From 2011 to 2017, out of 25 Marines in the mess hall with me, we lost 5. 3 to suicide, 1 to drunk driving, and another developed ALS. I can literally say this program has saved my life. Rick has always stated, and forgive me, Rick, if I'm stealing your line, veterans are looking for a hand up, not a handout. This was definitely my hand up. Since being at the company, I have become the first Dawson alumni to become a union representative. I now have a home, don't live check to check, have multiple vehicles, don't ever have to worry about my next meal, as you can tell. I am once again back in control of my life. My son has multiple things that he sees specialists for at 5 years old, and I am able to cover that. Thanks to Rick, UMAP, Colonel Sutherland, the Dixon Center, and my local 18007, my family and kids will never know struggle again. If there is ever a calling from any of those names, I will answer that calling. I congratulate the award recipients and wish you all the best. Always pay it forward. Thank you, and Semper Fidelis.
President Slevin and your veterans, thanks so much for your testimonials and comments. You guys rock. At Dixon Center for Military and Veteran Services, we believe our veterans and military families can succeed where they live. We also believe that every organization can effectively integrate veterans and their families into their existing community-based programs. Our mission at Dixon Center is to ensure both values are made possible. As a center, we provide and coordinate technical assistance, training, resource sharing, and strong leadership to our partners who, with our ongoing support, develop and operate direct service programs at local and national levels. It's as a result of this that we created the Herb Metzger Service Award. It's my humble honor to present the 2020 Herbert Metzger Service Award, named for Herb Metzger. This award is presented annually by Dixon Center for Military and Veteran Services as an honor recognizing outstanding individuals committed to addressing the well-being of veterans and military families. As I said earlier, we are honored to have the 2018 inaugural Herb Metzger Service Award recipient, Rick Friedman, here. The 2019 Metzger Service Award recipient was Michael Mick Yeager. Let me tell you why this award is named the Herb Metzger Service Award. Herb was dedicated to service, not just in the military, but throughout his life. He was a multifaceted individual who was equally as comfortable in a classroom, boardroom, an apple orchard, in the woods exploring nature, or his true passion, fishing. He was generous with his time, talent, and his treasures. Herb was an advocate for his local community and its surrounding communities around Toledo, Ohio. His style was to touch numerous organizations and projects without a lot of fanfare. Herb lived by faith, family, and fun. Family included many lifelong friends who are like true family to the entire Metzger clan. Herb was drafted for World War II. He served in the U.S. Army Air Corps and was in many training places across the U.S. He eventually was sent to flight school in Scottsdale, Arizona at Thunderbird No. 2 Airfield, where he flew PT-22 Stearman biplanes. He also attended mechanics and hydraulics school and used that knowledge to repair airplanes. He later enlisted in the Naval Reserves. Herb had a lifelong love of learning. After he finished his education in counseling, guidance, and psychology, and as an education specialist, he taught in local school systems, served as a school psychologist, a director of pupil personnel for 15 years. He developed one of the very first special education programs in Northwest Ohio. Herb not only loved to learn, his passion was to help others achieve their goals and expand their mind. Herb Metzger epitomized the spirit of our veterans that after service, they are wired to serve. Of note, in recognition of his work in reclaiming wetlands and recreating marshes for wildlife, Ducks Unlimited National named Herb Metzger as their Conservator of the Year in 2003. As devoted as Herb was to community service, he was even more devoted to his family. We're honored to have Herb and his wife Carolyn's youngest daughter and one of my best friends, Holly Metzger, and her husband John Coonrat here with us tonight. Please join me in welcoming to the microphone Holly Metzger.
Whoops. Okay. Thank you, David. Am I on? Okay. My dad had tremendous intellectual curiosity. He never traded one interest for another. He just added. Child psychologist, physics and chemistry teacher, land manager, apple farmer, and as David said, Ducks Unlimited conservator of wetlands. As kids, it took us a while to explain what his vocation was because we had so many options. After his first heart surgery, he told me not to come into his room without a pen and paper. He had things he wanted me to do. I remember thinking, as I wrote, that's a full-time job, that's a full-time job, that's a full-time job, and so on it went. As his caregiver, we ended up tackling his list together, which was an incredible privilege and honor for me. Tim Thorne wrote about veterans having a strong work ethic. My dad certainly did. Above all his interest, he considered relationships with people the most important. Growing up, Dad saw his family committed to helping others, and Dad learned by example. He loved helping, usually quietly, with a keen interest, encouraging people to be their best, to excel. He would be so impressed by the work that you, Tim, and ABF Freight are doing to encourage and help veterans to be their best and excel. My dad never forgot his experience in the Army, citing it as helping him get very focused. And he never forgot the men with whom he served. On behalf of my sisters, Sue Metzger and Sally Friend, and my 93-year-old mother, Carolyn Metzger, we would like to congratulate Tim.
Thanks, Holly. You rock.
Thank you, David.
This year's Herb Metzger Service Award is presented to ABF Freight President Tim Thorne. Mr. Thorne is an Army veteran and prior to separation achieved the rank of captain. He has served ABF Freight in many capacities from 1990 to the present, from supervisor assistant to president. Given Tim's breadth of knowledge at ABF Freight, he recognized opportunities for veterans in the transportation industry. Under Tim's leadership, ABF Freight joined with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters and the U.S. Army into the Teamsters Military Assistance Program, a joint training program to help soldiers transition from military service to civilian careers as professional truck drivers. ABF Freight and the Teamsters have worked as partners for over 50 years. As a veteran who understands the needs of transitioning soldiers, Tim made ABF Freight a resource for future veterans to exit with a clear path to a new career. Through TMAP, qualifying soldiers receive training to earn a Class A commercial driver's license and hazardous material certification. Experienced ABF Freight professional drivers provide a mix of classroom instruction and hands-on driver's training during the soldier's final weeks of enlistment or service. During this program, if soldiers provide the will to succeed, then ABF Freight will teach them the skills to not only meet, but exceed certification requirements. It's my pleasure, it's my honor to present this year's Metzger Service Award to Army veteran and a leader recognized across the country, Tim Thorne.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank you, Holly, for your kind words. Let me start off by saying thanks for selecting me for the Herb Metzger Service Award. It's an honor to receive an award named after a veteran that not only served his country during World War II, but was passionate about serving the community and devoted to giving back. It's also an honor to be connected to the Dixon Center, who is named after a veteran, Staff Sergeant Donnie Dixon, who, according to those that served with him, would do anything for anyone. So if you think about the contribution and sacrifice of these two great veterans, I'm truly humbled to accept this award on behalf of our company. I also want to thank the Dixon Center and the IBT for helping us successfully launch and manage the Teamster Military Assistance Program, or TMAP. In the past few years, we put over 500 veterans to work at ABF. And our goal is to add the necessary resources to this program so that we can hire 500 a year. This doesn't happen without most of the folks on this call. So I have a ton of people to thank for this, and I'll probably miss someone. But first, thanks again to the Dixon Center, a great organization that supports our veterans and their families. Colonel Sutherland, Colonel Milne, Colonel Whitehurst, are great to work with and are passionate about their mission. I also want to thank the IBT, Liz, President Hoffa, Director Soul, and their leadership team, and of course, our leadership team and those that support our military partnerships. Judy McReynolds, First Sergeant Elam, Jason Turner, Aaron Gaddis, Danae Bell, Wade Coggins, Mark McMinn, Andy Upchurch, Seth Runzer. I mean, the list goes on. And special thanks to our instructors. They're the boots on the ground, and they're the true rock stars of this program. The Soldier for Life and the Department of Defense folks have been great to work with as well. All these people really deserve the accolades and the attention, so thank you. Simply put, ABF Freight drivers are well known for their professionalism, and we're proud to offer soldiers at the end of their active duty commitment the opportunity to join our ranks. For me, it's pretty cool to go back to an Army post, see ABF Freight tractors, trailers, and drivers training soldiers to work for us when they leave active duty. In essence, these soldiers go from one uniform to another, and folks, that's the good stuff. In short, we want these people on our team. These soldiers that are entering the TMAP program will be exiting the U.S. Army with a clear civilian career path, and that's pretty awesome. And we'll do our part to ensure their success. I want to personally thank those in uniform for serving our country. And I also want to thank those that have served. Most of all, since we've mentioned our dads, I want to thank my father up there, who retired a Chief Master Sergeant, the highest rank he could achieve, and led me, my brothers, and my son towards the military. Dad was gone a lot and was involved in things he didn't want to discuss. I know it must have been difficult, Yet my father never complained about the things he did for our country, not once. He was proud to be an American and proud to have defended his nation. He considered ours to be the greatest country on earth, one worthy of his sacrifice and, if necessary, his life. He'd be proud of our company today, helping veterans. He'd be proud of me for getting such a prestigious award. Herb Metzger was devoted to giving back and would probably expect those receiving this award to do the same. I hope that I can live up to his legacy. Before I turn this over to one of our rock stars of the program, First Sergeant Elam, I'll conclude with some numbers. There are roughly 18 million veterans in the US, or about 7% of our adult population, and it's shrinking. In fact, the veteran population has been declining for decades as military experience becomes less common and veterans of older wars age and die. Today, about 1 in 8 adult men and 1 in 100 adult women have ever served. So a smaller proportion of Americans serve or are willing to serve. And many of our young men and women are disabled because of their commitment to serve. What is America doing about that? In my view, not enough. On a single night last year, 37,085 veterans were reported as homeless. We all hear about the 22 veterans that die of suicide every day, a rate that's 1.5 times that of non-veterans. I recently read on the Dixon site that because of the pandemic, our country will lose an additional 550 veterans to death by suicide annually. Additionally, up to 20,000 more veterans may be susceptible to substance abuse as a result of the crisis. The isolation caused by the pandemic has made a lot of already lonely people even lonelier, further amplifying the risk of veteran death by suicide. It's one thing to recognize the need to help our veterans. It's another thing to do something about it. I'm proud of the Dixon Center and their partners for the work they do to help veterans and their families. They're doing something about it in a really big way. I'm also proud of the IBT, the Soldier for Life, Department of Defense, and UMAP for their passion in taking care of veterans. And I'm really proud of our company and our team for doing our part to do the same. Thanks again to everyone and Dixon. I'm truly honored and humbled by this award. Thank you. And so I'll turn this over to First Sergeant Elam for a few words.
Thank you, President Thorne, the Dixon Center, and ABF ArcBest Leadership for inviting me to this event tonight. I am blessed to be part of such an awesome company after my recent transition from the U.S. Army. At this time, I would like to share a story with you. When I was a first sergeant of the U.S. Army recruiting in Fort Smith, Arkansas, Mr. Thorne, unknown to me at the time, was just another brother in the gym from the Army, staying in shape and making me look bad. It wasn't until an employee from ABF approached me and told me who he was. I engaged Mr. Thorne about the PAYS program offered by the U.S. Army recruiting. This program offers new soldiers an opportunity to select a company of their choosing for a guaranteed job interview after they leave the service. Mr. Thorne did not hesitate to become a partner. We have talked many times about his vision to affect the homeless veteran population and to give transitioning service members a good job with good pay and excellent benefits. Mr. Thorne has entrusted me to take our current military programs to new heights with a goal of hiring over 500 veterans next year. With Mr. Thorne's leadership and guidance, we're going to crush it. I'm up for the challenge, sir. Mr. Thorne, thank you for the opportunity to help our military brothers and sisters after their service. At this time, I would like to introduce Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, retired, Eric Zoldoff, a recent graduate of the Teamsters Military Assistance Program in Fort Carson, Colorado, and a current ABF road driver in Denver and a Teamster Union member. Sir.
Thank you, Jerry. Good evening, everyone. Eric Zolsdorf, like Jerry just announced, retired U.S. Air Force First off, I'd like to congratulate the award recipients on receiving these very prestigious awards. It is greatly and honorably deserved. Well done. I just want to say that the TMAP program for me and for all the other students that I had a pleasure training with was the seamless transition from the structured military life easing into the civilian corporate world. When I attended the career skills program, I listened to all the managers brief their respective programs. Then I heard the ABF brief and immediately thought to myself, this is completely different than my career in the military and sounds like an interesting way to continue to work with purpose. It's very tangible and rewarding to me to be able to haul that freight from point A to point B for individuals and businesses alike. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to do that with an organization that embraces military veterans. And I don't think it could happen without the very close coordination and collaborative efforts between ABF, the Teamsters, and the Dixon Center. So I just want to say thank you. Lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I think there's a solid cadre of instructors with the right mix of company, professional driver, and military expertise that is essential to that smooth transition.
Hey, Eric and First Sergeant, thank you so much for your leadership and your comments, and congratulations again to Tim Thorne. I'd like to introduce now Mr. Rick Pasquarelli. Rick enlisted in the United States Navy in 1982, where he was deployed for 2 tours of active duty and 2 years active reserve duty. During his first 2 deployments, he served in support of Combat Theater of Operations, Beirut, Lebanon, along with his Western Pacific deployments. After Rick's enlistment and honorable discharge, he started his career with Peoples Gas, where he recently retired with 32 years of service as business manager and national executive board member. During Rick's tenure at Peoples Gas and the Utility Workers Union of America, he founded the Utility Workers Military Assistance Program in 2011 in partnership with Peoples Gas executive team. Rick most recently joined the UWUA National Staff and now holds the position of UWUA National Director of Veterans Affairs and Workforce Development under National President Jim Slevin of the UWUA. Rick is a committee member for Veterans and Energy and sits on the Committee for Veterans and Workforce Innovation and is chair of the subcommittee for the AFL-CIO Workforce Development. Rick also serves as the AFL-CIO Union Veterans Council Chairman of Workforce Development. Rick is married to Lynn Pasquarelli for 38 years and is the father of 2 sons and 5 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present this year's Mick Yeager Point Man Award to Mr. Richard Pasquarelli. Please join me in congratulating this year's Mick Yeager Point Man Award recipient, Navy veteran Rick Pasquarelli.
Thank you very much, Colonel Sutherland. I'm truly humbled and honored, and to be with everybody tonight and all the award recipients is truly humbling and an honor to be recognized in this way. But this award is accepted on behalf of the dozens of individuals, like my president had talked about earlier, Jim Slevin, who are behind the scenes each and every day working to make sure that the vision of the program is working. And it starts with my executive leadership team. It starts with President Jim Slevin, my executive vice president, Pat Dillon, our secretary treasurer, Mike Coleman, and our vice president, John Duffy. Our executive director and of the P4A, John Harmon, from our Chicago team, who helps put our faculty in place and make sure that the academic components are put in place for all of us to use also. Kevin Kearns, Brian Murray, Dino DiDomenico, our outreach and recruiting coordinator, Ray Tashina, Liz Belcaster for all the work that she does behind the scenes and helping to make sure that no veteran is left behind. To my friend Will Addick, Union Veterans Council, combat veteran, and to my good friend, Mick Yeager. Mick is an inspiration to me and one of my mentors. And I could truly tell you from my perspective, from the state houses to the White House and everywhere in between, Mick has fought to advocate on behalf of veterans with a single mission in place to make sure that no veteran at all, whoever came behind our Vietnam veterans, would ever be treated the way that they were treated when they came back from serving so honorably. They work tirelessly in the community for all veterans and making sure that all veterans are able to succeed. I'd like to thank the Dixon Center, Colonel Sutherland, Colonel Whitehurst, and Colonel Milne, who have been friends to me, mentors, and have been partners with us at UWA since its very inception. It truly is an honor to be partnered with all you folks and making sure that we continue the mission together. I'd also like to thank my best friend and my wife, Lynn Passarelli, for being married to me for 38 years and truly being the spouse of a military veteran. Small story, when we were early married at 18 years old, I served my first 2 deployments, left her pregnant, and had our child while I was deployed in the Middle East. And truly something to behold when I came back, and making sure that I was grounded and making sure that my responsibilities were taken care of as a husband and as a father. So I also like to thank my 2 sons, Dan and Nick. I know I was always not the easiest in the military upbringing and the surroundings that I brought you up in. Their wives and my 5 grandchildren. It truly is an honor to accept this award, Colonel, and I appreciate it. This is going to be placed in a place of honor to make sure that it's viewed by the entire team that supports this effort and the mission of UMAP. So thank you very much for this prestigious award. God bless you. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you.
Congratulations, shipmate. We are very proud of you. You know, the Mick Yeager Point Man Award is presented each year in recognition of leadership to transitioning fellow veterans from service to civilian career. In an Army formation on patrol, the point man takes responsibility for others and assists them as they move through challenging terrain. This particular award, named for that role and responsibility and in honor of Michael Mick Yeager, recognizes the recipient's forward leadership in supporting others through challenging times and/or transitions. The award is named in honor of Mick Yeager. Mick began his service to the nation in 1967. Mick enlisted in the U.S. Army and served in the 173rd Airborne Brigade during a tour in Vietnam. As an airborne ranger in a long-range surveillance detachment, he led small teams to infiltrate forward of friendly lines, often with little or no support. Upon returning home from his tour of duty in Vietnam, Mick experienced firsthand the difficulties service members face upon separating from the military. Mick made a vow to dedicate his life to ensuring future generations of veterans would not have to experience the same challenges and reception following their service. For over 50 years, Mick has dedicated his life to selfless service and achieved extraordinary accomplishments affecting thousands of service members, veterans, and military families. At this time, I'd like to invite Mick Yeager to make a few comments to close us out.
Colonel Sutherland, and happy days to all of you. And once again, we close ranks to celebrate another successful year. I hope all of you stay safe in these trying times. Now more than ever, our veterans need your help and support. As a former combat leader, I came to understand that it's exactly times like these where the real leaders emerge. There is an old adage, however, the hotter the fire, the harder the steel. Whether it's in the jungles of Vietnam, the deserts of Iraq, or the rugged mountains of Afghanistan, those who serve are always pushed to the limit and beyond. That is why we work together to achieve success, and we win wherever we fight. Our success depends on all of us working together to support our men and women in uniform and also address the needs of our military families and their dependents. The Dixon Center is the force that binds us together, and it is and always will be the reason all of us are so proud to be called soldiers for life. We assembled together here today to celebrate one such leader. On October 23rd, 1983 in Beirut, Lebanon, over 200 sailors and Marines lost their lives in just a blink of an eye. Chief Rick Passarelli, a U.S. Navy Seabee, was given a duty that day of not only covering the scene, but also engaged in search and rescue. As time wore on, his duties turned to search and recovery, which is horror beyond belief. This is the forge that made the steel that Rick Passarelli is today. Like all born leaders, he carries in his heart the memories. It's hard for me to get through this. Like all born leaders, he carries in his heart the horrific memories of that day. He swore on that day he would help his fellow veterans any way he could. As the president of a labor local union, he chose to do all he could to help veterans achieve the American dream. Like all nonprofits, he realized that he needed support, and through EMB Consultants, Liz Belcaster, he reached out to Dixon Center. Today, working in concert with the Dixon Center, his program has become a working model and has trained and placed hundreds of veterans into new and exciting careers. He became a shining example of what can be done when you have a leader that never quits. That is why I'd like to present the Dixon Center's annual Point Band Project Award to Rick Passarelli. Congratulations, my brother, and continue your mission. I'd also like to thank Dixon Center for all of your many contributions to this very successful national program. In closing, I would also like to thank my friends and tonight's extended award recipients. Tim Thorne, President of ABF Freight. I wish I could have served under you, my man, because you're one hell of an officer. And you make your company is the best Teamster company, I think, that to this day is still one of our companies. Jim Slevins, thank you for supporting this program, because this is a program created by Rick, and UWUA is a shining example of your leadership and support, and we'll take it the distance. And of course, to Colonel David Sutherland and the entire Dixon Center team. Rick Friedman and Holly Metzger, I'm missing spending such time with you as we have in the past. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to recognize these great leaders. I will now turn it over to you, my great friend and brother, Colonel Dave Sutherland, to present to Rick. Once again, congratulations and happy holidays to everyone. I miss you all.
Thanks, Papa. Thanks, Papa. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your words very much. Thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. Have a safe and happy holidays. Congratulations to all of our recipients. At Dixon Center, we have a noble purpose: to make the lives of our veterans and their families better. The goal is not to create new programs, rather the goal is to enable the integration of military and veteran services into existing programs to increase impact. I hope you'll join us next December 14th at Bobby Van's on 15th in DC for our 2021 reception and awards ceremony. God bless you all. God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.